What's up, everybody?
Hey, everybody.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Standing Out. What is up, everybody? As you can tell, I am Trey Griggs, who is normally your host. No, I'm just kidding. I'm obviously not Trey Griggs, who is normally a host of Standing Out. It is your boy, Coleman Ruffin, the VP of Operations here at Beta Consulting Group. I'm holding down the fort for this specific episode of Standing Out. And honestly, because I requested to, because I wanted to speak with this guest. I mean, he's been doing some great things. I'm really excited for the show. But before we actually hop into it, we do need to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Sales-CRM. Now, not all CRMs are created equal, especially when most CRMs are not built with freight brokerages in mind. Sales-CRM is built by freight brokers exclusively for freight brokers. So be sure to visit betaconsultinggroup.com/standing-out. That's betaconsultinggroup.com/standing-out to request a demo. Scroll to the bottom of that page once you get there to learn more and have a CRM specialist reach out to demo the platform for your team. All right, everybody. As I was alluding to here a little bit ago, I was put in a special request to make sure that I could host this because I've spoken with this gentleman a couple times and absolutely love his personality, everything he's bringing to the table and to the industry as a whole. So please, everybody help warm welcome for Eric Krueger of Navix. With a great song, too. Oh, yeah. I love it.
Can't go wrong.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to just get it down a little bit. We're going to keep it going a little bit in the background as we're getting into things here, just so people can make sure to hear it. Eric, how are you, my friend? How's everything going?
Hey, I'm great. It's been a busy week, busy start to the year, and things are going really well. So how about you?
That's what I like to hear. Busy starts to the year is exactly how we want to hear it, especially with some of the lulls that we've been hearing in the space. I'm doing very well. I'm located out here in Denver. It's a bright, sunny day. We're looking at some 65-degree weather this weekend. It's like, oh, man. I might have to get out and try and play some golf.
You know what? I'm in Minnesota, of all places, and today it's supposed to be 50 degrees, and it is a bright sunny day. And it's a little odd because, you'd think cold, but it's actually quite nice out. But
there we go. Yeah. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of a warm spell there. I like it. I like it.
For late January to be 50 degrees, can't complain.
Yeah, we'll take it. So I know you very well. And a lot of people out there know you very well, but for those that don't know you, give us a little intro about yourself, where you're coming from, Navix, a little bit of that kind of high-level spiel.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Navix. It's a company that's been around for about 4 years. I luckily was kind of brought into this idea and solving this problem and challenged by some friends that were in the industry that knew this space needed some optimization and some improvement. And luckily, I had the opportunity to have a seat at the table when it was really kind of getting the thought process and the ideation was getting started. And really from there, it's taken off, and we've stayed very strong to our niche of what we're solving for. And we've really hit a very important component within the supply chain tied to Navix, which is really cash flow, right? So when the market was really in a little bit of a world of hurt there, it was important to find ways to collect cash faster, process more efficiently, leverage AI and other automation tools all together to drive, further scale for these businesses. And so it's been an awesome time, and we've continued to work primarily with LSPs and brokerages, but are having the opportunities as well to work with shippers and even some carriers for that matter that are looking to find ways to improve efficiency and collect cash faster. So excited to be here.
Cash is king, right? You got to keep the cash flow going within the industry. Otherwise, it is not going to be very successful.
As a freight brokerage, I mean, really, it's your bank, and it's more the faster you can collect your cash, and then also the faster you can pay your carriers or pay your carriers on term. That's important, right? It builds relationships, and it's also you don't have to pull off of anything else or even operate even off of your own cash reserves for that matter. So.
Yeah, very much so. And I was an ignorant young freight broker when I first started in the space because I had the opportunity to work at a Fortune 250 company. So the cash flow, right, everybody's still aware of it, but we were very much so operating as a bank, and it was never one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, we're like freaking out if a customer doesn't pay us for this and we need to float money to a carrier, whatever it is. But especially since moving on from that role and being in this industry for so long, I've talked with so many brokerages that are out there and so many people that have gone through issues like that. So could not agree anymore. That is a huge problem within our industry. And thank you and the team for solving that. And I do want to learn a little bit more specifically about Navix and again, some of your experience there. But we do always like to start off the show with a fun fact that a lot of people probably don't know about yourself. You broke your legs in back-to-back years playing football. What the heck happened?
Yeah, so it's a fun fact. I was a young little whippersnapper in middle school, and I played football and played safety, corner, and sometimes defensive end. And 7th grade, I was actually after practice playing some backyard football with a friend, and broke away for a touchdown, was running down the yard as fast as I could, and I got tackled from behind, and my ankle kind of caught, and it the gentleman landed on my heel, and then it ultimately broke my fibula in my right leg. So then
my gosh,
get casted up, go through crutches. I'm at school, and I get all prepped, and I would run track in the spring. I was able to do that every single year, or that year. And then, again, 8th grade, I'm in practice actually this time around. I'm playing defensive end, and I got a little bit of kind of a chop block, and then I landed on the turf, and I had an individual actually accidentally stepped on my left leg, with my tibia near my knee. So voila, I ended up back cast, and for the 2nd year in a row, and was in school with crutches, and everyone's like, what the,
didn't you just heal from this? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, so went through the same recovery process. I obviously built some awesome crutching muscles in my arms from that process, but healed up in time to run track in the spring, and I was back at it.
Wow. I cannot imagine. Now, so I've played a lot of sports growing up. I've done a lot of like kind of extreme sports and all that stuff. I've been very fortunate enough to never break a bone in my body, which is absolutely crazy.
Knock on wood.
I mean, granted, we're kids, right? We're a little bit more resilient, but breaking your fibula and tibia, like that has to be one of the most painful things in the world. Is that something that just like sticks in your head all the time?
Well, I would say my tolerance for pain has significantly shifted since those 2 instances.
You go to the doctor, hey, are you going to pain 1 to 10? It's like 10 being when you broke your fibula.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that's gone through a severe injury like that, it shifts your pain tolerance. And I would say that it doesn't make it go away, but it definitely hurt. And those were definitely painful experiences. I think the worst part was that, along with breaking my leg, especially my right one, I also, because they landed on my heel, created a ton of sprain around my ankle as well. Oh. And so therefore it was swelled up, and that was, I would say, maybe the most painful part. Luckily, I didn't have to have surgery for either, which was good. And then ended up having to sit, in a recliner or on a couch with a pillow, keeping my leg above, up so it wasn't swelling up too much. But all in all, quite an experience.
Yeah, hey, that's a box that I hopefully never check in my lifetime, but I'm glad that you did, because we get to have a fun little story about that too.
The worst part, besides the pain, was football season's in the fall, and then here in Minnesota, born and raised, you hit the winter months, and what happens? Snow and ice. And can you imagine trying to crutch around through snow and ice and not wipe out, right? That was, I would say, the biggest.
The ones that did it to you, they owed it to you to put you on a sled, and then they just get to carry you around. That's what should have happened.
we didn't have those neat little carts you see people with back in the day. I was on pure crutches. So
hey, it made you who you are today, and we appreciate that. We appreciate it. But getting back into the serious side of the conversation, or really, again, learning a little bit more about you and the Navix team. So you gave us some context of, why Navix started and kind of how you got there. Lead, and especially being with a company from the ground up, it's hard, right? Leading a startup is tough. Talk through some of the biggest challenges that you have faced as a leader, and then what were some things that you and the team did to overcome those?
So I'd say some of the biggest challenges, it's an ever-changing environment. And in a startup, I would say it's even more accentuated in the sense that every day could be good, bad, ugly. Like the roller coaster you're on is you experience some of the highest of the highs and some of the lowest of the lows, right? And they happen rapidly. And so, I think that's been just kind of, this is now my second startup that I've been a part of, one that now that I'm leading, but I would say that's hard to teach people and tell people that that's kind of natural and what you should be experiencing throughout this type of environment. But no, I'd say like a big challenge is just finding people that are willing to kind of go through that on a day-to-day basis, right? Someone coming from like you said, Coleman, like coming from a Fortune 250 and then moving into startup, that's a lot of shock. And so keeping someone engaged and understanding that, everyone wears multiple hats, everyone picks up stuff that doesn't fall within their job description, keeping everyone motivated, even when you have maybe a tough day or a bad day or something did happen, like, coming back and being able to take those blows and pick yourself back up, dust yourself off and dive back in with energy and passion is, I would say that's one of the biggest challenges, but it's been, you have to have a leadership team that, and a team as a whole that completely believes in the product, sees the vision, knows the strategy, and is willing to go out of their way, right? And pick up things where they just know something might need eyes on it and or some assistance, right? And so finding a culture that has that and building a culture that has that is, I'd say, of utmost importance. So
and I would like to echo some of that too. So having recruited for a number of startups, at least throughout my career, I feel like that's been a very similar thing, right? You can find somebody that's come from a very well-structured environment and then can succeed in a space like that. I would say more often than not, to your point, you kind of have to have some sort of experience of knowing what you're getting into a little bit. Like, okay, I have this background in this huge company. I know all the structures and systems in place. I have a little bit of experience, whether it went well or poorly at another startup, but I understand kind of what the grit, I guess, that's going to be needed to go into it. And then being able to translate that. And again, I'm sure maybe I'm making an assumption here, but I would guess that this time going through the whole startup and leading that obviously is going a little bit smoother than probably the first time that you went through it.
Yeah, I would say that the fact that I got to experience it in the first one allowed me, let's call it the resiliency, and it's called experience, just to know what to expect or know that this wasn't that, let's call it the craziness, isn't that far out of the realm of other startups, and have the appreciation knowing that it's what a lot of companies go through, right? It's not all rosy red glasses as you drive through this, no matter how successful, right? Like,
for sure,
we have it's called growing pains, whether it's you are actually growing as an individual, like a person, or a company, right? Like, even when you're growing, there's even more, I would say, challenges at times, just to ensure everyone's keeping up too, right?
Yeah, so. Exactly. And I love the fact about, yourself and some other like startup leaders within our industry. I feel like they've been very open with how the journey's gone, right? Anybody that says we're crushing it, every day is the best day in the world from a startup perspective, they're probably lying to you, right? To your point, you're going to see some of those ups and downs. But I think it's important to be real in the market.
Yeah. I'd say it's important, because otherwise that's where you could experience high churn from an employee perspective, right? If you're painting a picture that isn't actually accurate, one, you just have a poor employee experience, as well as it's just not the truth, right? Like, I mean, example, I was out visiting a customer just this week on Tuesday, coming out of that, with a very happy, awesome, customer, and they're super satisfied. Coming out yesterday, flying home, right? And then there's one thing that bubbled up this morning that it's just, it kind of turned into a little bit of a mini fire drill, not with that customer, but with another customer. Well, and guess what? That's kind of like the highs, you're super high one day and you're like, everything's going really well. And then boom, all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you're like, oh, I have this like fire drill I gotta go put out. Right. And it's just, if you're not okay with that and are willing to, know that that's the kind of the norm, there's I would say startup life's a little bit different than most others. So.
Very much so. And I'm glad that you brought up the whole concept and idea behind happy customers, because one of the things that we are very big proponents of here on our team is customer advocacy programs, right? Making sure that your customers are happy and then having them kind of help be another cog in your sales engine, if you will. Now, I have to give you and the Navix team a special shout out, because the other day on LinkedIn, I saw that you took some customers/prospects to a Blackhawks game, which looked like a blast. And I'm like, everybody should be doing, like, whoever is not doing this, like, have your customers, your happy customers, help kind of get prospects across the finish line. And then also, you got to treat your customers well, but show prospects a good time too, right? Like, show them like what this culture is all about. How has doing things like that helped, just from a strategy perspective, or really just helped you and your sales initiatives?
Yeah, I'd say one of the biggest things with customer advocacy and why it's so important is the number one, I'd say, concern from a buyer's perspective of moving forward with a startup is, credibility. And I want to know, you could always go down the tried and true route with a solution that's been in the market for 20 years. But if you're trying to pick something for a solution that's been in the market for 3 or 4 years, that's up and coming, the number one concern is, credibility. Like, can you do this, and can you deliver, and what's the experience like working with you all, and does the platform actually work? And, when you think about it, everyone asks for references, like, immediately. They're like, hey, let me talk to one of your other customers, because, that's the first question out of their mouth when you're a startup. They're one, it's price. And, obviously then it's like, tell me or show me someone else that you're doing this with.
Exactly. Can you deliver it? Yep.
Correct. And so I would say that we, from the start, have always, we put our customers first. We make sure that they're successful. We make sure that they're happy. We go above and beyond, right? Like white glove experience, to make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can for these customers. But then in turn, hey, it's, they want us to also win, and they want us to perform well. And this industry, as you know, is interconnected, and people talk to each other, as well as, everyone kind of likes to see what other people are doing to solve specific problems. So getting our customers out there that are happy, having a conversation with a prospect, well, I can kill multiple birds with one stone, right? Rather than, hey, customer A, I have 3 reference calls I need to send you over the next 2 weeks. Can we have a conversation? But at the same time, it's rewarding them with the ability to say, we're going to do something fun, something cool. We're also listening to you, and we are also advocating for, if you're comfortable with it, to also speak to some of these other folks that are exploring partnering with Navix, right? So I'd say that's kind of the root, and the methodology there is it's really that opportunity to build credibility, as well as thank and support the existing customers that we have.
I love that. And it blows my mind how many companies aren't doing something like that. And to your point, it's 2 birds with one stone, right? Like, you are showing your customers that you appreciate them, right? They feel more entwined with what you are doing as a company, as opposed to just like, oh, we're giving this company X amount of dollars every month, whatever it is. They're actually wanting to utilize this. They want to take us out to games and show us a good time while helping them grow, right? Which is just going to make the service overall a better time. And going back to it, companies that aren't doing it, I feel like it falls almost in between a lot of teams, where customer success tends to really focus on, hey, just grow wallet share with your current customers. Sales is net new business, like get the new logos in here. And there's like that happy medium where this kind of ties everything together. Again, I saw it on LinkedIn, and I had to give you a shout out, because this is what I'm just like, beat my chest out there. Like, everybody do this. And like, we help companies organize it. And I was just, I was glad to see somebody like yourself doing it. And again, I'm sure it's long run, it's going to pay dividends.
And actually, I mean, one thing we did even this fall is, we're a remote company, and usually we do these, twice a year retreats, full company retreats, where we take everyone and go to a location and spend a couple days working together in person, and mostly just team building and hanging out.
For sure.
And this fall, we actually wanted to switch it up a little bit. And so what we decided to do is, we're like, let's parse out the groups in, let's say into groups of like 4 or 5, and let's send them out to meet with customers.
Love that.
Because they wanted to see, we had engineers that were, like, they're not familiar with freight brokerage, and they wanted to see, hey, maybe what does this really look like, right? And or what, help me hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yep.
why the product's working, what maybe enhancements that they're asking for, what things could we, be doing better, what things are we doing great, all the above. And so we did that. And guess what? That's, again, killing multiple birds with a stone, because we do have that opportunity to have an on-site, meet with customers, meet with our stakeholders and users, and ensure that they're 10 out of 10 or 12 out of 10 as far as like satisfaction. But at the same time, it allows for our own team to kind of have that opportunity to experience and holistically across the entire company to understand where all of our customers are coming from. So,
yep, exactly. And that goes back to one of the philosophies that I had, at least when I was in training and development, in the broker side of things too. I can't tell you how many companies like, oh, we're hiring a customer salesperson or carrier salesperson, train them on that and then go. I was always in a frame of mind, they have to understand the entire cycle. Like, if you kind of can put yourself in somebody else's shoes and understand, like, oh, my job affects this team this way, and like that stuff is absolutely huge. So I love to hear. I wish I could try and tell you what to do, but no, you're like 10 steps ahead of me at this point. So another shout out that I have to give you that I saw, at least on LinkedIn the other day, and probably another initiative that y'all have, is some of the partnerships, right? I saw you announced a partnership with Axel and several others over the last couple months that I've seen. What's been going on in the partnership space for y'all?
Yeah. So no, I'd say with some of the market shifting, as well as even just our continued momentum and satisfaction across our customer base, we're seeing, a significant movement of more and more customers and or prospects moving towards Navix, which is outstanding. In addition to that, folks like Axel, we've been working with them actually quite a while, and it's fun to see that go out, because we've had a massive success across our team, and there's going to be some more to come with some very specific statistics tied to the success that they've seen in our partnership. And they've been highly collaborative and awesome to work with. So massive shout out to them over there. And they're on a tear as well, right? They're, I think a lot of people are like, wait, who's Axel Logistics? And then it's, you saw Sean post, it was just at the tail end of the year that they, eclipsed $1 billion in annual revenue, huge. Right? So that's no small fry. They're doing great over there. And, they're a big customer that has been advocating also for us, right? In the sense that they've been very satisfied with their experience. But then, we're seeing increased momentum. We're selling more deals and having more opportunities than we've ever had before. And that's I'd say a massive testament towards, I'd say the real results that folks are seeing in the marketplace. So,
and it's very refreshing to hear, right? Like, I mean, you've heard over the last couple of years, so many different types of companies, struggling, brokerages going out of business, whatever it might be. So hearing that people are winning again is like, oh, let's go. We're turning the corner on things.
Exactly.
And that actually, and that leads into kind of something that I always love asking somebody in your seat. If we're looking at the transportation and logistics industry from like a macro lens, like at the high level, what are you most excited about in our industry? Like, what's going on? You're like, oh man, this is some really cool stuff.
I'll give a massive shout out to all these AI agents. I mean, that stuff's wild. A little bit, right? And we have applicability of that within our application, because it usually in audit disputes, it's not usually someone picking up the phone and having a conversation. It's generated via an email. And so ours is a little bit different than the actual voice component. And so that's a little wild to me, because it's, we have the prompted and or generated messages from an email or a text, right? That is going out to a carrier or a dispatcher. And I thought that was mind changing and or a mind shift for a lot of folks. And then now seeing stuff like, these AI bots / agents, it's wild. In the sense that I think the industry is going to have a foundational shift towards that. But I think ultimately at the root, customer experience, relationships,
for sure,
and everything are still going to be obviously the number one taker. And I think we're going to see quite a rebound here in 25 as far as kind of the market as a whole. So
I love that.
At least what we're seeing across our customer base.
Love the optimism. That's if we're going to clip one thing from this episode, is like, everything is going to be all right, people. This is going to go. And okay, so last question. Then we like to always end the show as we're getting near towards the end here with some fun things and little games and stuff like that. But the last question I've got for you is, if you're open and willing to share with some people and give a peek behind the curtain, what are some exciting initiatives or developments or anything fun for to come for Navix?
Yeah. So I would say the thing that we're going to stay core to our vision, which is how do we help our customers accelerate their cash conversion cycle, right? As fast as possible and do it as efficiently and automated with AI, ML as much as they can, and ultimately utilize the root cause to reduce exceptions and have some more stuff flow through automatically as a whole. I would say any extension of that ability for us to allow our customers to collect their cash faster and or get through that process faster are things that we have rolling out here in 25, right? So think about other ways in which we can impact that cash conversion cycle to other than, I'll say this with a caveat, other than the one thing that we will not do, at least here in 25, is enter into the actual transfer of funds of, like payments or that matter. But that's going to be a core initiative for us. And then utilizing those insights to also help start making recommendations for our customers tied to, hey, this was accepted the last, 10 times on this specific load for this specific location for this type of exception. Do you want to continue to review these going forward or not? Like fun things that will continue to eliminate the touches that our customers are taking, as well as accelerate that cash conversion cycle even faster. So
that's amazing. Yeah, that's always something exciting to look forward to. The cash conversion going faster, like let's go. That's awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So as we are nearing the end, we always like to play a game, and then we end with a random question, which we'll get into here in a second. But we are going to play a game, and today we're going to play a game called This or That. So this game is very simple. What's going to happen is that Morgan, our producer, is going to throw up a banner on the screen, and it's going to give you two options, and all you got to do is decide between the two. Maybe I'll convince you right or wrong on this one, but it should be very straightforward. So there's going to be 5 rounds, and we'll go ahead and start with this first one here.
Oh, milk chocolate all the way.
You say milk chocolate?
Oh, yeah, all the way.
Okay. I was going to say, if you were going to say dark chocolate, I was going to tell you why you're wrong, but I'm 100% milk chocolate all the way too.
No, milk chocolate all the way.
That's going to be the easiest one that we probably have this whole time. All right, what do we got in a second?
Driver.
Ooh, easy. Oh, okay. We might just be on the same wavelength here because I'm the exact same way. I get car sick, but I also don't trust some other people driving, and I'm like, oh man, I would much rather be behind the wheel.
Yeah, I would say that's part of my I call it running career coming out of me is, call it a slightly aggressive driver in the sense that I like to know everything that's going on. And so I'm thinking, what's that car doing? Why are they moving there? What are they doing here? Who's coming up in my rear view? Like, I'm quite alert as a driver. I'm literally the exact same thing. When I'm driving, I'm literally looking in my mirrors all the time. Like, oh, is somebody just speeding up? Like, do I need to watch out for this person? Is this person going to try and get in my lane? Yeah, I'm not the person in the left lane that's sitting there. I'm the guy that is looking in my rearview mirror like every 5 seconds and say, that car's getting closer. That car's getting closer.
Yeah, you probably should get out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, both on the driver's side. Let's just see if we can just be on the same side for all this. What do we got next, Morgan? Soft taco or hard taco?
Taco.
You said, what'd you say?
Hard taco.
Oh no, I'm a soft taco guy, which is basically just a burrito. But like for me, the hard taco is just, it gets messy. And I don't like being a dirty eater personally. Maybe I just haven't mastered the hard taco way. But I'm actually, everybody that I've ever talked to, I'm on the outside looking in on that one. I think most people would agree with you.
Yeah, I would say I don't know many people that like the soft taco.
Damn. Okay. All right. Well, let's see if we can get the next two. All right. What do we got next, Morgan?
Science.
Ooh, science. I would 100% agree with you. I think history is interesting. I think it's important to know, but I'm definitely more of a science guy, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. History's fun and it's really cool. But I would say science just continually blows my mind. And that's the part that I think there's so much to learn there and see there and evolve there, right? Like
for sure.
It's history. And so like, that's the only reason it's super important and obviously really cool, but it's history. Exactly.
I get where you're coming from. Until science eventually has a time machine, then we'll see. Then still science trumps that one, let's say. All right. Last one. What do we got for our final this or that? Wow.
I'm a mountains guy.
I mean, I'm born and raised California, moved out here to Denver. And it's like, we're so close to the mountains. I absolutely love everything it has to offer. So I'm right there with you. Now I have to ask, there's a lot of lakes up in Minnesota. Would you put lakes, like lake life, over all of these?
No, I'd still say mountains.
Okay.
Just due to, I think, the amount of activities that you can do. I would say like I would maybe put mountains and lakes pretty equal, but I just love mountains. That's the thing. Like, and beaches, like, okay, one, I don't like being like super hot. Like that's just kind of annoying. And then at the same time, you know, you sit there and you're there for like a day, and I get bored. I'm like, all right, like what else can we do here? Sitting on the beach, right? You know, those like a beach vacation.
Yep.
I can do maybe a day or two on the beach, and then I'm like, all right,
I gotta go do stuff.
What's next? Can we go do something? Yeah.
I 100% agree. So that was our game that we're wrapping up with here, this or that. Now we do have a random question of the day. Now this question, we have like a running bank that all of us just throw questions in, and then we just completely randomize it. So it could be something serious, it could be something funny, it could be a joke, whatever it is. So Morgan, what do we have for our random question of the day? Oh, this is my favorite. I actually came up with this one, and of course, this is when you brought up football earlier. So any team that you want, any QB, you're guaranteed 5 targets every game, a regular NFL season. Could you get 100 receiving yards over the course of a season?
In the season?
In the season.
Oh, yeah.
In the NFL. Whatever team you...
I thought it was 100 yards in a game, and I was like, heck no.
Heck no. No. So I'm 100% on the same page with you. And some people are like, there's no chance. Now, I get it. You might have the first couple games where they might lock you down. And you're like, okay, whatever.
You get lucky. You might hit a 20-yarder because they are like, this guy's terrible. Like, we don't have to cover him. And then all of a sudden you run a 20-yarder, and they're like, oh, crap. Like,
that is literally my argument every time I've ever gone. And then if you break it down, it breaks down to like, I don't know, like 6.3 yards or whatever it is a game. And I'm like, okay, I think I could average that. I might not get a catch for the first 2 or 3, but then to your point, soft coverage. We don't need to worry about this person. We need to worry about like AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm like the lineman that they call eligible when they go in, and then you need one guy that catches a touchdown, right? So
exactly, yeah, I love that. You and I, even though we had a couple that we differentiated on this or that, I feel like we were on the same page with a lot of this stuff. So I love that. Well, that officially does wrap up the show. Now, before we go, any last words? Anything exciting going on in your world? Anything else you want to add?
No, I just say thank you so much for the opportunity. Always good catching up, and we'll see you at Manifest. I'll be out there next. Well, technically it's 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
Right? So see you out at Manifest, and anyone else see you out there. And looking forward to this year as we're already off to a hot start. So awesome.
I love it. Well, thank you again, Eric, for joining us on the show. We're going to go ahead and kick you out of here. I got a couple of things that I just need to touch on here, but thank you again. Everybody, if you have not had the chance to look at or check out Navix or meet Eric, make sure to do it at Manifest here next week because we are pre-recording this, or check them out on LinkedIn. Again, they've got a phenomenal product, great team over there. For us, that's what we got. We got to shout out our sponsors again. Thank you so much, Sales-CRM, the CRM, excuse me, I'm losing my words now. The CRM built for freight brokers by freight brokers. Make sure to check us out next week. We've got another phenomenal show. And we've got Kara Brown-Smith that is going to be on Standing Out. And with that, everybody, have a great rest of your Tuesday. And we'll see you next week.